It's news time. Information is power. Be correct. The news headline: Jubilation hits Nnamdi Kanu'S camp as Ekweremadu shares this good news. Ekweremadu says we are working on Nnamdi Kanu'S release. Ekweremadu, a former president of the Senate, has called on Igbo people living in diaspora to speak out against violent agitations. His message also called on them to use their positions of power to aid the search for security and stability in Igbo land. This comes nearly 2 months after the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Ipob, Nnamdi Kanu, was apprehended in Kenya and brought into Nigeria in a shady manner by Nigerian authorities. In a statement signed by his media advisor, Uche Anichukwu, Ekweremadu assured Nigerians that the Southeast Caucus of the National Assembly, of which he is a leader, was working to defuse tensions in the region and find a political solution that would bring results in Nnamdi Kanu's release from prison. A flawed federal system, injustice, poor management of the nation's diversity, failure of the government to secure lives and property, and the needless clampdown on the self-determination agitators were among the reasons cited by Ekweremadu for the agitations by various parts of the country. Dialogue and giving every part of the country a sense of belonging, he argued, would have surfaced. He, on the other hand, was adamant that the violent agitation was also not the solution. The lawmaker opened up in a virtual lecture titled "The Igbo in Diaspora, a Perspective," which he delivered at the Igbo Heritage Lectures and Ugumba Excellence Award event, which took place in Pretoria, South Africa on Sunday evening. The lecture was broadcast live on the internet. He observed that one of the worst things that could happen to Igbo at this time would be for their homeland to be turned into a battleground for the first time in history. It is imperative that the injustice and marginalization that exist be addressed. In any case, we must ensure the stability of Igbo land, because only in this way will allow Igbo be able to prosper economically, while also eliciting local and international sympathy and support for their predicament. In the last few months, something strange on Igbo and even, sacrilegious has occurred in Ala Igbo in our region. The devastation has resulted in the loss of human lives as well as significant economic losses. Igbo lives and economies have been particularly hard hit by the sit-at-home movement, which is why it is encouraging that Ipob has stated that a wise man does not invite war into his home. Our people prosper in the fields of industry, commerce, and unorganized sector of the economy, and the majority of them rely on their daily wages to survive. That it was disturbing to note that while Nigeria is the third most terrorized country in the world, next to Afghanistan and Iraq, the Buhari-led government actions are centered on cows in such a way that cows are more secure in Nigeria than Nigerians, just as the others are armed to the teeth to the knowledge of government authorities. Also, the Human Rights Writers Association revealed that Nigeria's public debt stock, which has reached $84 billion, with debt service costs galloping about 80% of entire government revenue. Nigeria's external debt increased by 107.4% from $12.6 billion in 2015 to $27.4 billion by the end of 2019. Furthermore, the rights group expressed worries that between March and June 2020, a total of $10.26 billion new debt was approved by the National Assembly, while other approvals for more loans were also given this 2021. Of the 4 administrations who have led Nigeria since our return to democracy in 1999, the current administration holds the worst records in terms of economic growth. Olusegun Obasanjo regime from 1999 to 2007 has had an average growth of 6.9%
his immediate successor, Umaru Yar'Adua, did even better in his 2 years with an average growth rate of 7.6%, while Goodluck Jonathan delivered 5% growth rate in his 6-year term as president that ended in 2015. The group added. Relatedly, Human Rights Writers Association also used the occasion of the 61st independence celebration of Nigeria to call for cessation of conflicts and attacks in the southeast of Nigeria so dialogue can be embraced. The Human Rights Writers Association further called on indigenous people of Biafra to strictly enforce the suspension of the Monday sit-at-home order, as well as the United Nations for intervention and the release of Kanu. And these were the words of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, that the Independence Day celebration was just a charade and that the Buhari-led administration needs to release Nnamdi Kanu, where they say that the country is actually failed already, and the ineptitude, incompetence, and insensitive high-handedness, and also the nepotism by the Buhari-led administration of the country has led us all into disaster and woes. The group also said that that good governance has actually been abandoned, and that Nigerians are now suffering from conflict and terrorism in the country, saying that President Muhammadu Buhari is actually falling into this kind of mess because of the kind of people he surrounded himself with, such as Garba Shehu, who is the presidential aide, and also that all the other people who are just not telling President Muhammadu Buhari the truth just because of their selfish and pedestrian interests. The Human Rights Writers Association also challenged President Muhammadu Buhari to initiate concrete, genuine, and deep national reconciliation and dialogue, and not to go after people that are clamoring for their right to self-determination. In a statement signed by National Coordinator Comrade Emmanuel Onwubiko, Human Rights Writers Association carpeted the nation's political class for their alleged collective and classical lack of leadership acumen. The experience of Nigerians since 2015 has actually been impressive. And before then, Nigeria was the third fastest growing economy in the world, next to China and India, with a growth rate of close to 7%, but the economy contracted immediately after swearing in of President Muhammadu Buhari took more than 6 months to constitute his cabinet. Therefore, the Human Rights Writers of Nigeria had actually said that the state of Nigeria now is disturbing because it is now the third most terrorized country in the world, next to Afghanistan and Iraq, and that the only thing that the Buhari-led administration is doing is centered on cows, and that Nigerians, just as others, are armed to the teeth to the knowledge of the government authorities, and that the past government had actually recorded a good growth in the economy than the present President Muhammadu Buhari's regime, saying that there is need for the indigenous people of Ipob to continue with the agitations to secure the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Thanks for listening.